All day, all night, you've cried and cried. You'll be okay, you'll be fine. At Spicy with Phina, we understand all the pains.
Marital rape can be defined as the act of having sexual intercourse with one's spouse without the consent of the spouse, or where consent was acquired forcefully. As with other forms of rape, the major ingredient is the absence of consent, or consent acquired through force or violence. Modern law have progressed beyond the notion and have embraced the fact that men can also be raped, as you would hear from the stories I have for you today. I'll be right back with my guest. I have, the story we have today is actually very interesting, and I will be reading it out when we come back from this quick break. Let's get to meet our guest. I'll be right back.
At Spicy with Phina, we understand all the pains.
Barrister Uzoma Chilaka holds a bachelor's degree and a master's degree, having been called to bar and also enrolled as a legal practitioner in the Supreme Court of Nigeria. She has practiced law in Nigeria for 10 years and has worked as a legal advisor, company secretary, legal and compliance officer, external legal consultant, and legal counsel. She is passionate about the rights of women in the society and has played a significant role in mentoring young girls and vulnerable women in the society. Mohammed Jamiu Balogun is a theatre artist, a filmmaker, and a content creator. He has featured in multiple stage productions across theatres in Nigeria and is fast gaining attention in the Nollywood industry as an actor and crew member. Balogun is a fascinating storyteller with interesting concepts through his credits.
At Spicy with Phina, we understand all the pains.
Welcome back. It's still Spicy with Phina, and I have my guest already seated. Both of them, it took me a while to quite get them because I had to keep calling, trying to look for people to help me connect somebody that connects somebody that I got them for me. But I'm very glad you guys are here. Balogun, it's good to have you around. Was it very hard for you to come, like traffic and all in Lagos?
Not really hard. Traffic in Lagos. It's like normal routine for us.
Routine, so you are used to it.
So when you
already.
wake up in the morning, you just plan like, okay, I'm going somewhere. Yeah, I'll meet traffic.
Regardless, yeah? Amaka, you look beautiful.
Thank you.
You look beautiful. How are you? How have you been?
Fine.
I'm so glad when you obliged to be here. Like I needed the perspective of a lawyer as regards to what we're going to be discussing. We're discussing spousal rape today, but I have two stories that I'm going to just read. I'll read both of them almost immediately so we can throw more lights and try to look at the things that must have transpired and everything that actually went down on the story. So I'm just going to read it out now. Story number 1 says, I lost my job some time ago and it became difficult. My wife picked up the responsibility of the house and it was great. She relieved me of a lot of things. She was very helpful. She was able to take care of virtually everything in the house, from food to taking care of the children's school fees to house rent and all. She's just been doing fantastically well. It started more like a joke that she started requesting for more sex. Like, each time she cooks me a good meal, she will ask for a good sex to go with it. Whether or not I'm in the mood, I'm being forced to oblige her. Each time I try to talk to her about it, she feels I am ungrateful, like I don't appreciate her for all the things she's been doing. Now I am feeling choked because she asks for sex virtually every now and then. I am actually feeling raped because I will have to give her sex whether or not I want it, whether or not my body needs it, whether or not I'm in the mood. I don't have a choice because I am jobless. She threatens to withdraw her help sometimes, and other times she will force me. In fact, she will force me by taking the wheel on the bed. Now I have gotten a job. This hasn't stopped, because she keeps blackmailing me and demanding for sex. I feel so raped.
Wow.
You know, most times they talk about these things. I thought it's only the woman. We are always at the receiving end, like,
Yes.
you know, a man will marry a woman and say, you are my property, like we have been bought with a price, you know. But for a man to lament, is actually interesting. But before we, you know, throw more light on this, I want to read the second story. The second one says, my husband enjoys making love to me when I'm on my period. I hate this act. I tried telling him to stop, but he wouldn't. In fact, he's even helping me to check my calendar to ensure whenever I am in my period. Once I'm on my period, he will not let me go. Every freaking minute, seconds, hour, he wants to have sex with me anytime I'm within my period space. Right now, I'm feeling so raped because I don't like sex at that time. I don't want to have sex at that time because most times he comes to me, I feel irritated. I feel irritated because I'm on my period. Right now, I feel so raped. What should I do? No, like, I'm not laughing at the whole thing. I'm just laughing at how life can be imbalanced sometimes. Yes. Like, nobody has it all. Yeah. You want to live a perfect life, you just cannot. Like, you can't have everything. Yes. In one hand, this man feels he's being raped because in fact, the wife wants sex all the time, with or without his consent. And on the other hand, is a woman who feels there is other time in the month you can, you know, exactly. But not on this day. I feel irritated and all, and the husband is not having it because I married you. Do you get? So first of all, I just want us to first of all look at the part of the woman now. Okay. The part of the woman, what do you think could be wrong? Like, do you think the man is just being selfish? Do you think the man is just being, what would you rather say as regards to that man? Let me start with you, Balogun.
You know, it's just as you say, life is not balanced, but okay. The imbalance makes it very interesting. For the case of the woman, I also as a man, I'm feeling irritated. A woman in a period, but you want to have sex with her every time she's on a period. You know, I don't feel.
Or do you think there's more to it?
Yes.
Oh, you think there's more to it?
Yes.
Because we're in Africa.
Yes.
Where
Coming
you feel
from a traditional home, it's not okay.
Okay.
Some people are like that when, from different stories, traditionally now, some people don't want to go near their wife, especially warriors, like people that are warriors in Yoruba land. Okay. They will tell you not to go to your wife whenever she's on her period.
Oh.
Because she might spoil the charm or jazz on your body. And some people normally use that period to maybe
get more stronger.
Yes.
Or,
to become stronger within their midst. But coming to our 21st century civilization, I don't think it's okay from both angles, either from the man's side or
the woman's side.
The man needs to understand the wife. Not him checking her calendar to see that, okay, she's on her period, she's on her menstrual cycle, I need to. No. I think that period, within that 5 to 7 days, can just limit, pamper her, take care of her for that particular week. So after the whole, since she's your wife, you have her every time. You can just within that
so requesting for it at that time, you know, it sounds weird. Yes. Like it shouldn't
Getting
be.
This story now, I'm surprised. I'm really surprised.
But you know, people go through a lot.
Yes.
People go through a lot. Amaka, let me hear what you have to say. I need you to react to this thing because you know you are Igbo.
Yes.
And from the part of the East, the men feel I married you, and as such, I have right. Of course, I think it's same all round. Yes. But the Igbo men have this overruling attitude towards towards their wives. Would you rather say there is anything called spousal rape? And you're a lawyer too. Would you rather say there is anything called spousal rape even when both parties, like the man and the woman, were properly married and they were supposed to have sex as part of? So is there anything, do you think there's anything as spousal rape?
Okay, first I'm delighted to be having this discussion.
I'm so glad.
And it shows an advancement in awareness.
Wow.
It shows advancement in information. So many years ago, many of us will not be talking about this.
Exactly.
Because it's alien to our culture. Even up till now, the discussion is just gradually coming to the front burners. And thanks to programs like this, and thanks to people like you.
Thank you.
Yes,
Thank
because
you.
I'm going to look at this from two angles.
Okay.
The very important one, which precedes law, is the cultural, socioeconomic factors. For me, these are more related, because as human beings, as families, we are the smallest unit of the society. So long before we even imbibed our laws, many of which were modeled following Western laws, we had our culture. We had family units as individuals. So the first is that before now, and even up till now, women are seen primarily as chattels, as properties. So once a man pays your dowry or bride price, I'm also speaking from the background of the Igbo culture.
Okay.
He has that impression that he has bought you over, along with everything you own. So some people erroneously believe that the woman, as well as her body, her rights, her beliefs, her thoughts, are completely extinguished. And the man has it, lords it over her. That is culturally. There are other factors we should also consider. Like marriage, it is easier speaking to establish rape with unmarried.
Yes, that's the thing.
Yes.
That's
Even
the
the
thing.
law before 2015 had defined it as having carnal knowledge without consent, or where there's consent, where if it's got through force or duress of an unmarried woman and somebody else. In fact, it clearly defines that when it comes to consent, it is limiting it to beyond man and wife. So by the definition of rape in Nigeria, it meant that a man could not rape the wife.
That's the thing.
Yeah, so this is rooted in an implied consent that if you've married, you've given your consent
already.
But the question we'll ask ourselves, is it a blanket consent? That is what we need to talk to ourselves about. Is it a blanket consent? Are there reasons or situations where one might want to withhold that? Let's look at it also with the dignity of the human person. Does someone have a right to say, okay, yes, I know there's a consent to do this, but not now?
Not now.
Also looking at it, for us, many of us are religious biblically, on the term of unity of marriage. People tend to say, okay, unity, you're one.
You're one.
And when we look at our environment, counselors' churches are still products of our society. We live in a patriarchal society where leaders, lawmakers, pastors are majorly men. So you find the situation where some of those advices given to you are tilted. Like young ladies, you're about getting married. Igbo culture traditionally, most of what they are telling you, oh, you must obey. You must not contest your husband.
I think they are looking at submission. The Bible says they are looking at submission in all his forms and ramifications.
Exactly.
But I think, anyway, before I would say what I think, we just have to go on a quick break. When we come back, we'll continue. Right. We'll be right back.
At Spicy with Phina, we understand all the pains.
Welcome back. It's still Spicy with Phina, and today on the show, we are discussing spousal rape. You know, initially I was asking myself, could there be anything like spousal rape? Because once you're married, you expect that your spouses have rights over your body. You know, but today we're going to be throwing more lights on spousal rape in all its shapes and forms. So Amaka, you were saying something, and there was something you said, and I said, I think the pastors and the leaders and counselors about talking to us about marriage I think they are looking at submission in all its form. Like a woman must be 100% down to earth. She must be this, she must be that. And they forget that we all have emotions. And sometimes you might be down. You might have some things that is, bothering you. And at that point in time, you don't feel like, pleasure is the least on your mind.
Yeah.
So I think that's where partners compatibility comes in. If I'm married to you, and at that point you touch me and I don't feel like it, and I try to explain to you that I don't feel like it, I expect that regardless of what the law says, because it's obvious, I'll come to that, regardless of whether there's a law to, help me or not as a woman, I feel you as a person should be able to understand me, and I should be able to understand you. Do you get? So I'm looking at it from the people now involved, not the law. So I need you're coming from the angle of the law, which is perfect. So, but what I want to ask is, you talked about rape being defined, and it's as if we're referring to the singles.
Yes.
Not really, it's not applicable to. So we need to know now, do you think, how does it apply? Like what can we possibly say, this definition, how has it affected the married? Because as it is now, it is being defined in Nigerian law that is meant to be like this, and at the end of the day, married people are suffering it. So I need you to just throw more light on how it affects the married people.
Okay, thank you. When we discuss certain issues and we look at certain legal parameters, we consider the definitions, like we have highlighted.
Yes.
That the main definition in the criminal code had, by its definition, excluded married women from being raped. So, legally speaking, married women could not be said to be raped.
So, are you saying till now it is not been included in Nigerian Constitution as at now? Are you aware?
And I'll come to that.
Okay, that's fine.
So now the interesting thing is that there's been a law, the Act Against Violence Prohibition Act of 2015, that has, by its definition, amended the meaning of rape. And what is interesting is that it expanded rape to include married women, to include raping men and boys, which is also an interesting part that people don't talk about. And also to include rape using objects. Now, it did not expressly say married women could be raped, men could be raped, but by the definition, it says any person who causes this to do this by force or by coercion, and it affects the victim's personal or psychological is defined. So you can see that that definition has a wider meaning. So by that definition, really, men, boys are capable of being raped, married women are capable of being raped, and people are capable of being raped with an object.
With an object. You heard of the story that went viral?
Yes.
Of the popular actor. They said it was his car key that he was using to, the little girl. So objects, that's where the object thing comes in. Yes.
So, but one thing restrictive about that is that has been passed by just few states. So we are telling other states to do that, to enact that, because the Nigerian system is dualist. Laws can be made by the federal at the exclusive level and made by states. But one thing states need to understand, that crime is more on the state. So they need to, some good for states like FCT is operational in the FCT.
Oh, interesting.
Some states, Oyo, Anambra, but very few states. So if your state where you reside, because most of the time a cause of action is determined by the defendant's state or place of residence, right? If your state has not enacted that law, you might be forced to fall back to the exclusive criminal code, which is what has that
initial definition.
But aside that, you might not be able to bring a charge for rape, but there are other minor offenses, like you mentioned the Constitution. Constitution guarantees the dignity of the human person.
Okay.
It guarantees privacy.
Privacy.
So you could also bring certain actions based on violation of human rights. Do you understand? But that in itself does not criminalize it. So you find out that you might just have maybe an injunction, a declaration that is wrong, maybe compensation or damages, but it doesn't criminalize the act. We could also have other sexual offenses acts where you could bring an under which you can bring an action for a sexual offense. But not rape, except you're within those states that have
has
enacted,
implemented
yes,
those.
violence against
thank you.
issues.
Balogu, you are a guy.
Yes.
And I don't know if this whole thing about raping guys is weird to you, but
Not really.
it's not weird. Like, you've heard people being raped. Really?
Yes.
Really?
I've heard a lot. But you know, boys, whenever you report those kind of situations, people don't believe.
Yeah.
Yes. When I was in university, I was among the S2G representative. But whenever a guy reported that a lady raped him in school, personally, I didn't believe. I was like, why would the lady rape you? But when we asked his roommates and few people, were like, yes, it's true.
It was actually rape.
I read some things online too, where ladies rape men. Like 2 ladies raped they law a guy for a whole 1 week, and they raped him. He was abused, he was damaged, everything, was bleeding. So people don't believe. Normal in our societies today, people don't believe.
There's something else I want to say. You know, on the part of spouses,
Yes.
if you say you want to, like FCT have implemented that, how can we ascertain if consent was obtained or not? These people live in the same house.
Yes.
If it's single, you would have said, okay, you as a lady, what were you doing in that place at that time with the guy? But for people living together, they sleep together, they wake up together in the same, how can you tell if consent was given or not? Let me hear what you have.
Thank you for that. That is one of the challenges with reporting or implementing or even securing a conviction for rape, right? It's like you just said, it's easier with singles because the whole implied consent cannot be there. Okay, let's look at practical examples with a married person. For example, we are married. We might have had sex on day 1, fully compliant and with full consent. Day 2, I say I'm not interested. And if it's without my consent, it's considered rape.
Of course.
Or even that is even too long. Let's say we just finished one session now. The next session, I tell you, please, I'm tired. And you're still hard and on, and you force yourself for me. It might be a bit difficult because we just finished one that I had consented to. Do you understand? You can say, oh, there was consent. Of course, I didn't know. So some of the things that could be used is when proof of discord, proof of separation, or maybe if there's actually physical assault, which shows that he actually maybe held
physical
you down.
assault.
Marks and scratches. But if that is not there, it might be a bit
relatively difficult.
Or maybe another thing, it could be record of dissension. Maybe now with technology, videos and records saying, oh, I don't want that, I'm tired. But then in a marriage setting, it's not very easy. That's why we need to balance it psychologically too.
Exactly.
So beyond the law, that's revaluation of our value system, reorientation, so that consciousness is enough for within to deal with people. And I want to say fairness, because most of the time it's always women who are the victims. But true to what you say, there are cases where men are being raped. And it's not just beyond.
And theirs is even worse, because who do you want to tell? Who wants to?
And then the men think that it's a shame for them. Imagine, I know how difficult it is. So I've seen cases in police station. Even they'll say, I better go settle them now. Family matter. As a man, if you bring that,
I think I want us to talk about some of the ways police react to this thing called rape. But we'll get to do that. We have to go on a quick break. When we come back, we'll continue on this interesting topic. We'll be right back.
At Spicy with Phina, we understand all the pains.
Welcome back. It's still Spicy with Phina, and trust me, we've been talking about spousal rape, and it has been very, very interesting and engaging. So if you're just joining us, please enjoy the time. Balogu, the thing is, I was saying I was going to ask you a question.
Okay.
Now they said spousal rape. They said rape. I was thinking within myself that if we say men can be raped, right?
Yes.
For the woman, she doesn't need to be honey or anything for it to happen. But for a man to be raped, in fact, for rape to even happen, there must be a penetration and there must be an erection.
Yes.
So you are saying it wasn't with your consent. You don't want it. But yet, how does it happen? Because I want to believe an erection took place. So if it's without your consent, how do you get erect?
You know, psychologically,
Okay.
men are destined to be erected when they see something that aroused them.
Okay.
There are instances where, okay, like the example I gave, like the girl raped the guy. There's no how a girl will be naked and strip a guy naked and touch him all over that is not going to be erected, unless if the guy is not okay. That's one. But if the guy is fully a man, and even if he was forced, so far the lady is already naked and she touched him all over, romanced him and everything.
His spirit does not want it, but his body will react. That's what you're trying to say.
He doesn't have a choice. He might not want it, that I don't want, but that particular erection must occur, which can lead to the penetration. Okay. And then at the end of the whole situation, might be like, yes, I was raped, she raped me.
It
You know, guys don't want stigmatization.
Yes.
I can't report to my friends or to a police station that, please come and help me. So person raped me. They'll be like, bros.
That brings me to the police station
Bros,
thing, because the way they react to rape, they just make you feel like, somehow, only God know what waiting don't happen there.
Let me just say this. Female have more advantage than the guys when it comes to rape issue. A girl can just wake up one morning that a guy raped her. 70% will believe that yes, it's true. 30 may not be like, okay, where is the evidence? Let's hear from the guy's side, stuff like that. But if a guy should report that I was raped, 90% will
No, that's because we all know that for a rape to take place, there must be an erection and a penetration. And uncle, you rise.
In
fact, your spirit, let me say, your body gave, should I say your soul gave the consent even without your mouth doing it? Your body has already given it.
It's just like,
because for you to rise, you are calling for it.
Alaya, I want. That's it. Like, you don't want, but there's no how.
I get you the way you talk about not giving your consent. You don't want it. It doesn't mean you're not. You have blood flows in your vein.
I can
blood
understand
is
what
actually flowing in your vein.
Maybe
so I get what he's trying to say. But Amaka, how possible can we address issues of malicious reports? Like, you get people who, because they want to hurt their partner, because they just want to get back at the partner, they will claim they are raped. Is it just can the evidence just be physical injury, or could there be other ways you as a lawyer can, fine-tune if that is actually a forceful accusation, or if it's a truthful accusation?
Okay, this is a very important question, and it's something that we are beginning to observe is happening. Yeah. People do a lot of things maliciously.
Yes.
They can do that to blackmail. They can also do that to get back at somebody. So it is true that there might not be incidents of rape, and people can come up with that. Now, the the burden of proving that rape falls on the person who is alleging it. So it's not a very easy thing for you to prove. So really, you must think it through to say, if I want to go through this length, I might be prepared. But some people just want to cause the distraction, cause that for what, even if it doesn't go to a logical conclusion. So what we advise, that is why at the beginning we said, okay, beyond the legalistic, let's look at it human to human. Things that really will put you in that position. For example, let me use the examples of guys. You have a lady who is either your wife or your girlfriend, and there has been repeated intercourse with consent, it is important to also observe. Because when people say consent, it's not very easy. We know that in
sometimes you might not even say
thank you. That's the point.
Yeah,
sometimes you might not even say
the truth of
the mood.
Yes, that's
You're right.
You've hit it. So
But how do we now get? How do you expect a
I'm
partner
coming- yes.
to get sex from an unwilling partner without raping? Like, I want to have sex with you, and I see that you're not willing, and I want it. I'm married to you, and I don't want to rape you. Are there tactics you think, either party can use?
Yes, yes. Although
I'll come back to you, Balogun. You have to say something
before
about
I
this.
respond to that, let me just put a disclaimer that I'm not an authority on that.
Okay, that's fine.
That's jokingly. I'm not at all. But life is life. We are humans. You know things that make people happy.
Yes.
You can, let me use that word, entice. Let me use the word entice in a limited view. Do you understand? Things to make them happy. That's why I was going to. Consent is not very easy, because we all know that for those in marital relationship or any other relationship, nobody goes to sign paper and pen like a contract to say I consent. Yes, every day you want to start, you come and sign. Let's be realistic. Nobody does that. So it is by our actions. So a lot of things coming with the mood. So once, my advice to going to avoiding rape issues, once you see that by the person's actions or mannerism, the person is not willing or cooperating, just withdraw. A lot of self-control comes here. And then your perspective even if for your own dignity, for your own pride, you wouldn't want to do it. For me, it feels, you could say, it means it giving me the intention that I'm not desirable. So let me not force myself on you. Yes. The second aspect of it is a more difficult one when you have been in an active sexual relationship, and it gets to a point where the person says no. But let's be clear, that somebody has been having sex with you all the while does not mean, like we said, is a blanket consent.
Exactly.
For each process, for each act, there has to be that consent.
Okay.
Let's be clear.
For each act, there has to be.
That I did it yesterday does not mean I've agreed to today.
Exactly.
That I even agreed to that's the problem with those saying implied consent. That I agreed in this form does not mean I agree in another form. Of course, there are different types of sex that people don't like. For example, they said some people like that. Some people like the blowjob, but some other people, maybe by training or what do you call it, biblical and upbringing, they don't like it. So if someone consents to one form and doesn't consent to another, that other form she doesn't consent to, if you go ahead, it's also rape. Because by the wider interpretation of the new Act of 2015, says by any means, the other one was more restricted to say a woman's vagina, but this said mouth, anal, or any other part, using any other object. So is encompassing.
Balogun, how would you rather, get sex from an unwilling partner? Like your wife isn't ready.
Yes.
Instead of raping her, what would you rather do?
Number one, I believe our mindset and understanding. Okay, she doesn't want it. Let me understand that, okay, she doesn't want. But also, it's not everything that is intercourse. There are also outer course. If she doesn't want penetration, definitely
there are other things you could do with her.
Yes, just for you to satisfy yourself. Okay, like I did a project on female genital mutilation where the guy got married to a circumcised wife and she doesn't want sex at all. So throughout their relationship, throughout the 3 years, there was no sex. On the night of their wedding, she refused sex again. So the guy was like, what am I doing? What am I doing?
Is this what I signed up for?
So he started taking sex outside. He was not hiding anything from her. He was doing it. Yeah, she doesn't want sex. And she didn't tell him she was circumcised. So she told him along the line that, babe, I was circumcised. This is my reason why I don't know what sex.
Enjoy it.
So the guy, they had to go for counseling and
everything.
Yes. So I believe he's understanding.
That's why it's good to be open to your partner. You guys can work things out.
Yes, true. If she doesn't want penetration or this particular form of sex, understand with her.
Exactly.
Let's talk.
See how you guys can work things
What's
out.
wrong with your mood? Can I brighten up your mood and everything? Not just intercourse. You can kiss her, you can romance her and do anything.
Do other things.
And we are human.
Work things out.
Yes, that's what I believe.
Let's conclude on this. Let's conclude the show with, maybe final advice for these people involved. For the man that feels raped because the wife provides, and for the woman that feels raped because the husband wants sex all the time whenever she's on her period. What do we advise them? Because right now they're saying they feel raped, what should they do? And they need advice. Let me hear what you have to say, Amaka.
Okay, I would want to tread carefully here because we know what they say, especially lawyers, women lawyers, and it could also be as a result of background.
Okay.
Then I wouldn't want to prefer going first to the authorities. Maybe by my nature, I like to speak with people.
Okay.
Even if I'm in that situation as a woman or a man, I would bring in one or two people. For example, I know people that maybe you listen to, or you could pay attention to, and you obey. Maybe family, or maybe a mentor, or maybe, for example, a pastor in church. And not just so much so that somebody is coming to tell me, okay, live with it, manage his life. No, it's about a close friend establishing a witness to say that this is how this thing has been done. First, I talk to you and tell you, these are things I don't like. I believe there's a lot to opening up.
Yeah, I know.
These are things I don't like. I want you to stop it. Partners alone first discuss and say, prefer solutions to that. But if I see that this thing is not stopping, I would invite third parties.
Okay.
And then at that point, we'll now say, okay, if this thing doesn't go, I'll take it off. So at that time, when I now take it to the authorities, at least I would have satisfied my conscience that
you actually try to get it right. Get them to do it right.
Let me advise that not when it's a life-threatening case, please, because we've had issues where they want to settle amicable settlement, because amicable settlement works. Alternative dispute resolution works. We've seen certain cases where litigation, because if you go to litigation, it's not easy to prove penetration, it's not easy to prove coercion. And when they put you on the witness box, believe you me, the questions they will ask you, they will use it to, lawyers on the other side can use it to impede your morality, so that they put you already in a bad spot to discredit your witness. So alternative dispute resolution works, but not when your life is at risk. Because you have seen several cases where women, in the bid to protect their marriage, or in the bid to avoid what the society would say there, and especially when the man is violent, and you eventually land in a very difficult situation. When that is the case, please speak out.
Speak out.
No matter the stigmatization, speak out. Go to the authorities. Even if they will label you all sorts, they might not want to. Keep with and products programs like this. We have NGOs for women and children. Please go there and report the case. Help can come from everywhere.
Very important. Very important. So let me have your final words, Balogun.
From the case of the man and the wife, let me. Okay, I'm going to take in two sides. Firstly, the wife, she's a very good woman for taking all the responsibilities when he was not having a job. But she's using that
now.
Yes, on him.
On him, and it's not nice, is it?
It's not nice. So 12 then needs to understand.
And that is consent by intimidation or duress or threats. Yes.
The guy now.
So it's not a willing consent.
Yes, he feels he's being used, but he might not want to say no.
And that is rape.
She'll be like, I'm not paying their school fees again, and I'm not buying. I'm not taking care of the house again. Yes, but now that the man is back to his feet, now has a job, and
he should stand on his feet now and take back his family.
Is the 001 of the whole family.
Of course,
he should stand on the feet. Like, this is what I want, and I want this particular thing
to stop.
Yes.
So you're advising the man to stand on his feet.
Yes, not really fighting her.
Of course,
there's a way you man up and be like, babe, I don't want this. I want this.
Exactly.
Don't worry, I'll take care of the school fees. I'll buy everything, and I promise I'll make you happy.
Exactly. There'll be a way for them to work things out. Yes. Then the woman that's the man can man up.
Yes.
The woman that will not be able to do the same because she's married, as in she's considered beneath the man. Yes. What will you rather advise her to do?
She should just try and cope with him.
She
should try and cope and understand with him that sex is not what you want every time. is not what, well, people have different mindset, like, okay, my sex mindset is high, another person
some people have
is
different.
low. Yes,
But that's all they should have been able to fix while they were dating. Honestly, you guys have done so much. As in, all you've said is mind-blowing. Thank you so much for coming on the show. Balogu, it's good to have you. Thank you for coming. Amaka, thank you for coming.
My pleasure. Nice
Thank you
to
for
be
coming.
here.
As usual, on the show, Spousal with Phina have a little thing we give, little gift for our guests, and we are going to be presenting the gift to you. Sorry, I used to say ladies first. It's not me that cost it. Do you understand?
Up to this
it's not me that
24th
cost it.
century.
Right.
So let's do Amaka first. You can have this. Thank you so
you.
much. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Then Balogu, this is for you. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for coming. I really appreciate you guys. We're at the end of today's show, and I hope you've learned a thing or two concerning spousal rape. One thing you should not forget is understanding between both parties is very important. If you show some level of understanding to your partner, there won't be need for you to even, it will escalate to the point of tagging spousal rape. It's all about, if your partner is not in the mood at that time, you show some level of understanding, and tomorrow the person will definitely come around. Understanding is key in every relationship and marriage. We'll always come your way with interesting stories and amazing guests to really throw more light on those stories. Until we do that on the next episode of Spousal with Phina, please don't forget to follow us on our social media handles as Spousal with Phina. Don't also forget to send us your messages. If you have stories, true life stories you would like to share and you want us to talk about, kindly send them to spousewithphina@gmail.com. You can also call the numbers on the screen, send us WhatsApp messages, whatever it is you want us to reach out to you for, kindly contact the numbers on the screen and send us email. And then if you are going through anything that is related to the topic for discussion today, and you need the help of a lawyer, you need the help of a psychologist, you need the help of anything that is related to what you're experiencing currently, you can always reach us with the numbers on the screen, and we'll see how we can link you up with suitable and correct professionals that would attend to you. Spousal with Phina will always be here to give you all the very best when it comes to addressing relationship and societal issues. Until I come your way again next time, is bye for now.
Just let it out. All day, all night, you've cried and cried. You'll be okay. You'll be fine. At Spousal with Phina, we understand all the pain.